is the next question. You have such a strong drive to succeed.
Yeah.
Were you ever discouraged at any point during your educational journey? And if so, how did you motivate yourself?
So I was discouraged every step of the way. From my undergrad days to grad school, when I had to do a full-time cleaning job, and I had to go to school full-time.
She worked a cleaning job full-time and went to school full-time.
Yes, so let me tell you my schedule. I'd start my cleaning job from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. in the morning, and then I'd take my bicycle and go to school from there and start school at 8:30. 8:30 to 4:30, I'll stay in school whether I have class or not, just to do my assignments and everything. 4:30, I will start going to my second cleaning job, which starts from 5 to 10 every day throughout that master's degree, 2 years. And I finished that program. I was the first person to graduate in my set, and I did well because that result was what got me scholarship for my PhD.
Relentless.
Right? So I felt discouraged. I felt like I wanted to go back to Nigeria. I'm Nigerian, by the way.
It's not easy.
So I was thinking that. I was discouraged. Finland was very cold. There was language barrier and all of those things. So master's degree was very, very tough for me. Tougher than my PhD days in terms of, life challenges related discouragement. For PhD, as you know, I feel like PhD, the whole package of getting a PhD is not just to be smart and get your doctoral degree. Mm-hmm. There is more to it. They teach you resilience and they try to humble you. So your PhD breaks you and molds you and do every sort of things to you. There are times when I just wanted to quit. One of them was when people keep telling me that I didn't need a PhD to get a job. And, when recession hit, people were saying, oh my God, the people that they are first cutting off are the people with PhDs. So
rumors.
So I started thinking, did I actually need this PhD at all? Like, who advised me to actually do this PhD? And number two, when you do a PhD, people say it streamlines what you know. Mm-hmm. And for that reason, you may not get a job. And I saw it around me in grad school. And a lot of the people who had graduated, they were doing postdoc, they were being underpaid, and they were not happy. So I started thinking of maybe just doing a second master's. So I actually, instead of taking 2 courses,
really?
Yeah, I took 7 courses because I needed 8 courses to just get an MNG, Master's in Engineering, which is like course-based. I was literally going to just quit because of hearsay or people just discouraging me, making me feel like I'm not going to be successful, I'm going to suffer, I'm not going to get a job. Those words came from people that I won't get a job, I'll be overqualified, and they discouraged me. Mm-hmm. So they became voices in my head. I would just wake up in the middle of the night and those words were haunting me.
And those are their own fears being projected on you.
Yes. And because biomedical engineering was also new, mm-hmm. people were definitely not on board with me. They were just feeling like, who's going to hire you? Which industry are you going to?
You said
and all of that. So yes, limitations in terms of people, extruders information or extruders voices in my head was one of my biggest challenges in grad school. Number 2, I had 2 people who were co-supervisors. Mm-hmm. One of them was a professor of mechanical engineering, and the other person was basically a professor of anatomy and physiology. They do not agree on everything. Their thinking, the way of supervising was different. I'm an engineer, so the engineer and myself, we get along so well. But the biologist and I, oh my God.
These are the struggles.
It was a big struggle. He didn't like my writing style. He didn't like the way I arrange stuff. He didn't like the way I approach things. I'm an engineer, so I'm a little rough. The way we are. Like, we're not like them. We're not like the lab people who just put
we're very, very rough.
So, it was trying to make me a biologist. Yeah. And I wasn't ready to really be a biologist. So, myself and my last supervisor, we clashed a lot. It made my whole experience very, 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 very difficult. At some point, I just told him, I just feel like I don't really need to go through this struggle. Can I just have one single supervisor? It wasn't possible. So what does that mean? You have to think about this. Your supervisor is not supposed to be your friend, but you are supposed to be able to tolerate each other and be able to not make the atmosphere toxic and be able to work in it. It was a little tough, but once I realized that it doesn't matter whether he likes me or not, I respect him, I'll do my work, I'll stay professional.
You remember the end goal too.
Yeah. I was able to kind of get over all those pain and all the other things that I was feeling, mm-hmm. and focus on being a professional and getting my PhD done. But it took a while for me to get there. Number 3, financial challenges were real. So grad school in Canada, to be honest, do not pay students well. They give a scholarship, and in my own case, I didn't get tuition sorted out of other things. Tuition was supposed to be paid from what I was earning, and I was earning $1,600. You pay tuition from that $1,600, you pay rent from it. What's left? Nothing. How are you supposed to eat, survive, still kind of drive a car? It was impossible. So I was in grad school and I still had to work part-time at Sephora. I still had to find graduate assistantship position. It was just tough. To be honest, I'm Canadian, but I think Canadian government needs to talk to our professors. First of all, there has to be standardization of how much you're paying graduate students. Let's talk about that. Because this group, they may be paying their graduate student $1,800 or $2,100. This group, they could pay them $1,600. Some they're paying them $1,000.
One group of grad students are suffering, the others are
they're enjoying.
Yes. It's such an imbalance.
Yes, and some people want Vanier scholarships. They're getting $50,000 a year. So it varies like that. And I wasn't one of those who happened to be lucky to win big awards and win multiple scholarships. So I had to still work on the side. So in grad school, despite trying to do all this research and to save the world, I had financial challenges and still had to go back to the hustle, have a side hustle while you go to school. Not easy at all because PhD was extremely hard.
PhD is hard.
Yeah. Another challenge that I had was the fact that I was almost 30 in my 3rd year of PhD. And you know what? When that threshold is about to hit, you're like, I need to get married right now. So there were pressures and stuff like that kept me thinking that I haven't achieved a lot of my life, and I'm about to be 30. I was tormenting myself.
I love that you're talking about this because most people feel this way, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
If only society has
made us feel this way. Yeah.
If only I could see 3 years later.
Yeah.
If only at that moment when I was almost 30, I could see right now.
Yeah.
I would calm down, right? But I couldn't.
It's gonna be worth it.
Yeah. It was challenging to not be married. I have to think about it. What have I achieved with my life at 30?
And by the way, we're Nigerians. So when we say 30 and you're not married, it doesn't seem like a big deal over here. But being from a cultural place like Nigeria, by 30, everyone is looking at you and wondering why you're not, why are you even in school if you're not married or if you're not thinking about that,
But I'm thankful to God that I was able to kind of told myself one thing. You have to be a whole one before you can be part of the two.
Yeah.
That I needed to be a whole one. I needed to get my life together before trying to lump it up with another person's life. So when those realizations set in, I was able to set that goal aside, that marriage will come later. Let's just kind of deal with this PhD and finish. My PhD journey is one of the most fulfilling journey that I've had so far my entire life. It was very structured. I had a challenge that was related to what my mom was going through. My mom had osteoarthritis, so she had knee joint related pain. So I was trying to regenerate articular cartilage damage by osteoarthritis using 3D printing. So every day when I go to my lab, I thought I was doing something that it could solve the problem that people like my mom had. So I felt like I was contributing something. So I always had asked people who are going to grad school, what is your why? Because if there is nothing driving you to do it, you will get to a point where you feel like you just want to quit. But if you have a motivation, then that motivation will be a reason to wake up every day and say, you know what, I need to keep going and I need to get this done.
For sure. So I know you have a wonderful foundation, Stemhub, which focuses on empowering kids through STEM exposure. What was your inspiration behind Stemhub Foundation? And can you talk a bit more about it?
So I'm a critical thinker, and when people want to start anything, whether it's a business or a not-for-profit, I always ask them, is there a need? In 2017, when that story broke out, and I'm the first Black person to get a PhD in Biomedical Engineering from the U of S, it was, let me just say, broke the internet. So I had different people. So in 24 hours, I had already 5,000 friend requests on Facebook. I could not accept friend requests anymore.
That's crazy.
I had over 7,000 inbox messages from people, parents, young people who were even thinking of committing suicide, people who used to be like just, runs girls in school. So many people write to me. And when I saw those comments from people, I couldn't read all of them, but the ones that I read, I realized that the need in our community, there's a few needs. The first one is the fact that these parents are looking for role models for themselves and their children. Role models that can stand tall, that they can actually show these youths that education is still worth it.
Yeah.
And for them too, because they want to go back to school, but the thinking isn't worth it. So I had parents reach out to me and say, I'm going to go and register for my master's degree at the National Open University of Nigeria. I'm going to travel abroad. I'm going to try my best to do this and that. So I saw that there was a need. For the young people, all they were asking me is, how come you look like this and you already have a PhD? You're young, you're just 31. And for them, they felt like for you to get a PhD, you should be like 45. So I
think it's a long stretch.
Yes.
Far.
Yes. And I had also people were wondering about biomedical engineering. Yeah. How did you come about that career path? What does that mean? What industry would you work at? And I had people who have young children who would ask me, don't just be a role model to them. Can you come around and just play with my kids? How can we get these kids interested in STEM rather than just sharing your story?
How can we start sparking that interest?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there was a need. So because of the fact that I saw the need in our community, I thought, okay, it's time to create this. The last thing I didn't mention was some parents, when I say, oh, there are community centers doing STEM and stuff like that, that you can register your kids for robotics class and stuff. They tell me this, those people teaching those robotics classes, those people teaching all those classes, they are not real engineers. They're teachers, right? The teachers telling my children to be engineers when they themselves are not engineers. You are a real engineer who is doing this in the industry. So when you tell these children, they will kind of believe you more than even their teachers. So
it's like, I get that. They want to see someone who's actually doing.
Yes.
The kids are going to have questions.
Yes.
They're not going to be able to ask the teachers. They want to see an engineer who's actually doing the work.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I thought about it that this need that our community have, if not me, who will solve it? Then who? If not now, then when? That it's time to do something, and it has to be now. So that's how I started. I started at my local church. I just do STEMing with the kids once a month.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So and my pastor said to me, I'm not going to give you money for it. Just the kids love the science thing that you do for them. Just do it. So from my local church, it became a thing that started going to community centers and to other places. And then we thought about mentorship. So I got invited in 2017 and 2018, I got invited to a lot of youth conventions. I was the face of Live It Loud, right? The RCCG convention that happened yearly in 2017, and I was the keynote speaker. So the youths kind of feel like they need a role model and they need a mentor.
Yeah.
So when I go to these different conventions,
mentorship is so important.
Yeah, they will ask, "Can you be my mentor?" Or they would tell you about all the challenges they have and the fact that nobody cares. So I felt like Stemhub will not only do science experiments with kids and stuff like that, that since I cannot mentor everybody, I would try to help them find the mentors who will hold their hands as they're navigating through their undergrad degree careers, or they just got into the industry, they're feeling a little lost. Yeah. And what if I could find them someone specifically for their career
tailored to their career?
Yeah, so pretty much the need was out there for Stemhub to come to life, and I took that bold step, knowing fully well that it wasn't going to be easy.
Yeah, definitely not going to be easy. I think the work you guys are doing is amazing.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
The last part though is the scholarship stuff. You know, I went to school in Finland without paying. I also went to school in Canada without paying. So especially people from Africa, from Ghana, Nigeria, Uganda, Zimbabwe, I was getting messages from people who are just about to finish university saying, how can I get scholarships? I need help. I have good grades. I need help as
That's actually a very important question.
Yes.
Most people don't even know how to even start to navigate all of that.
Where can I find those scholarships? How can I apply? Some of them have even applied, but they weren't chosen. So a big part of Stemhub's role is to help these people figure it out. First of all, show them the opportunities that are out there. For those ones who are strong candidates, help them put their package together for free. And for some who can even apply because of, the application fee is $100. Pay those application fees for some of them who are strong candidates, but who are from similar background like me, because we want to open those doors. And I'm very, very proud of what we've done. Last year, we got over $2 million scholarship funding for people.
That's amazing.
And I was selling a scholarship lead. I'm like, man, We did all of that for people.
Oh, that's amazing.
And like, we just changed those people's lives.
Yeah.
They'll never have to struggle.
And this is why supporting organizations like that is important. Most of the time, people don't really understand the scope of why supporting is important, like financial support or even any type of support. But it's important because it trickles down to everyone. Being able to do that, I'm sure, is from the support of everyone. Everyone who was able to chip in some way or somehow. Yeah. Because that's amazing. I can't. That's a big. Yeah. That's a big.
I'm very thankful to all the volunteers who are equally busy, who also have full-time jobs, but they focus on different areas of Stemhub and make sure that we're delivering excellent work.
That's amazing.
Sometimes I wonder where they get the energy from, and I remember myself, and I'm like, I think whatever you have passion for, you actually get done.
No, that's amazing.
Thank you.
So, being the first Black African to graduate with a PhD from the University of Saskatchewan, I don't know if I pronounced it properly, Saskatchewan, you must have always stood out. How can you encourage minorities of all groups to not be scared to stand out and to occupy spaces where people like them aren't necessarily the norm?
So I wouldn't even talk too far about standing out at the UFS. I would talk about standing out where I work right now.
In general.
Standing out my entire life. I feel like when you're a minority, whether you're in engineering, whether you are in a community center, whether you're at the airport, your chance of standing out is just staring right there at you.
Yeah.
You'll always stand out. So how do you present yourself? Do you present yourself to stand out, to leave positive impact or negative impact? You will always stand out when you go to conferences. In my world, in biomedical engineering, we don't really have Black people. We have a lot of Asians. So everywhere I go to, when I go to these conferences, I'm probably the only Black person over there. There's another Black person at the corner. So there's an opportunity to stand out everywhere. But you have to ask yourself, now that I have an opportunity to represent my race and my culture, am I doing it well? Am I representing them smartly? Am I representing them respectfully? I'm not saying that you should suck up, right? But I'm saying that always remember that standing out gives you an opportunity to educate those people who are ignorant about who we are. So a couple of days ago, I had an opportunity to go to a national lab with my bosses and stuff like that. And throughout the whole sessions where we're in that lab, there was no female engineer in the room where we were having meetings. So I was the only female, and I was literally one of the youngest there. So on our way back to work in the car with my bosses, we had a discussion about females. And I really just drove it home in that bus that we need representation.
Yeah.
Right. So it was an opportunity to actually let them know that I feel like they love me and they respect me and they care for me, but I want more of me to be able to get a seat at that table.
Important.
So I felt like I represented women well at that meeting. I represented my race well. But when you get an opportunity to actually talk about these issues, respectfully also present that. So as a person of color, as an engineer, whoever you are, first of all, be a good citizen.
Yes.
Be a good citizen. Be a good person. I'm a member of the Rotary Club. So everything I do, I want to always make sure that it is the truth. It is fair to all concerned. It will build goodwill and better friendship, and it will be beneficial to all concerned. And this has guided how I act, what I do, how I present myself. And I didn't have to just keep fighting and making people know that I'm minority and I'm trying to represent my race. I'm just living my life based
by your actions, the way you're just living.
Yes, I'm living my life based on the rules that I've created for myself since I was a kid. I started being a part of Rotary when I was in high school. And all this value system grew with me. So be a good citizen, be a good ambassador for your race. And if you have an opportunity to talk about these issues respectfully in order to create spaces for other people who look like you. What I always say to myself is this: of what use am I at a table if I keep being the only person at that table? if there's no diversity, if there's no inclusion at that table, and I've been sitting at that table for 5 years, it shows that I'm selfish and self-centered, and I want to just receive all the glory by myself. So create more room if you don't want to keep being the only one. Bring your own people, bring more females in, make your office a place where it's like United Colors of Benetton. Include Asians, include Middle Eastern, include women, include Africans, include LGBT, include
diversity doesn't just include your own niche.
Yeah.
It includes every other person, every other diverse group. It includes everyone.
Yeah.
Most people like to focus on just their own group, but then that's not diversity. At some point, if you just saturate with people like you, then we're back at square one. You know?
Yeah. Inclusion. Include people.
Yep.
Thank you.
What subjects would you say are sort of the core fundamentals of this discipline for like undergrad students?
So I think most schools will do the basics of biomedical engineering. It could be 2 courses or 3 courses. You have to take those basics that expose you to the different disciplines under biomedical. You also would have to take a few courses that focus on anatomy and physiology. For you to be able to optimize anything in the human body or for human being, you need to know about the human body and animal body and all of those.
And this is an undergrad.
Yes. So you may take some anatomy and physiology classes, but depending on what area you want. If you want to focus more on biophysics, medical physics, you will take a lot of physics related courses. If you want to focus on biomechanics and all the other mechanical related area, you will look out for design engineering courses, you will look out for simulation courses, you look out for more courses that focus on that.
So there's a point where you're allowed to pick your own courses, like 3rd year?
Yes.
You're okay.
Yes.
Okay,
so I believe that 3rd year and 4th year students have the flexibility to choose electives and say, I want
to within their discipline.
Yes, these are electives that I want to include because of what they have passion for. You know, oftentimes the guidance counselor, which you pay for, we don't utilize them as much as we should. If you're thinking of a career in biomedical engineering, you will need to use your money on that guidance counselor that is in your school. You go and ask questions about the different electives that can help you get the biomechanics part, the different electives that can help you get the biophysics part, the different electives that will give you the neuroengineering requirements. It's good for you to ask these questions from those people so they can guide you to the right electives to take alongside what the curriculum or whatever standard that you need to take.
I really do hope there's more exposure on biomedical engineering. I feel like it's a very interesting discipline that most people would want to venture in, but they're just so lost and they don't know how to.
Yeah, and I read an article, I think last year, that shows that, you know, biomedical engineering is one of the key jobs of the future.
Because it's so sought after.
Yes, it's so if you're thinking of being in the forefront of innovation, if you're thinking of a fulfilling career that will earn you good money, if you are thinking of being an innovator or being an inventor, biomedical engineering is the place for you. If you're thinking of solving a problem that human beings will actually use, or solving a problem that relates to human being, or creating a product that human beings will really use, I think this field is the right one for you. There's been predictions that shows that it's only going to go up. It's only going to be
high.
Demanded for more. So why not? Especially with the fact that with biomedical engineering, you can still just use your core. If your core is mechanical engineering, you can still say, I don't want to be bio anymore. I want to just go straight into mechanical engineering. You will still kill it. They will still hire you. It gives you diverse opportunities. It exposes you to a lot of things. And guess what? You are doing good to the human beings. How fulfilling is this kind of job that you can get home at night and be proud of what you've done with your day and sleep well? You're not trying to burn fossil fuel. You're not causing any
She's
damage.
giving a biomedical pitch now.
You know, like, I love this career path and I feel like it's the future. And why am I advocating for it? University of Saskatchewan has been offering biomedical engineering for 30 years before I took that program. It took 30 years to get one black person to get a PhD in that program. I want more black people to see the opportunities that this program can give you. If you have looked at my profile, if you have heard about me, if my story has inspired you one way or the other, I want you to know that if I didn't make that history, you would not have heard about me. And that is not the only history I've made. Where I currently work, I made another history because I'm at the very forefront of innovation. Where do you want to be in 5 years, in 10 years?
Ask yourself.
Who do you want to be when you're 33? At 33, I love my life, I can do better. Well, ask yourself, are you fitting in to mechanical engineering or to some areas because it's safe? Or you're going to actually look at what the jobs of the future will be and plant yourself in the direction of the jobs of the future so you will remain relevant. You will remain sought after. Who do you want to be? It's up to you.
Make the decision.
Yeah.
What advice would you give someone? I feel like you've given a lot of advice already, but what advice would you give someone who is now interested in pursuing this degree?
So I would say know why you want it. And research all the different areas that I've talked about today and look at what best fit your future. And when you make your choice and start your biomedical engineering journey, talk to those guidance counselors to be able to get the right electives done. Also, make sure you get those internships in. They're very important to you. You need to be able to at least do 2 internships before you graduate. And never be, I would say, be grateful, but never be satisfied. This industry is evolving rapidly. It's not for people who want to be satisfied. It's for people who are hungry for innovation, people who are curious, for people who want to actually make contribution to our world. If you're one of those people curious, who loves to innovate, this is the place for you. Just make sure before you graduate from school that you do the right thing, and of course get good grades and pray. And if you need a mentor or someone to talk to, find me on Instagram.
I'm gonna link all her information down below, so you guys should go and ask her all your biomedical questions.
Thank you very much. Also hard, but have a bit of fun in the middle. If someone had told me this would be my life when I was in grad school, I would have taken it easy. I was so hard on myself. Don't be too hard on yourself.
Too hard on yourself.
It'll be fine.
Another thing I would say is also speak out. Take your future very, very, very seriously. Go and seek out professionals in that field and ask them questions. Use LinkedIn. You can find people on LinkedIn. Find people within your field. Especially for biomedical engineering. Now that I'm starting to understand that there's a lack of information, go and find those professionals yourself and ask questions. Don't leave anything to faith or to hope. Make sure you actually go and figure out stuff by yourself. And before I go, think about those conferences we talked about. Look them up. Plan to attend them. Plan to attend them if you're looking for a job. If you're looking to connect to people who can be your mentors. If you're looking to expand your network, those conferences give you an ability to do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
This has been a very informative session. I feel like I've learned so much too about biomedical engineering. I literally didn't know anything about it. I went to a university that offered it. I knew people who were in the program, and I was still so lost on what it entails. So I'm happy you've cleared that up for me. You've cleared that up for a lot of people out there who are interested in taking the program, and also for the general public, for them to just have an idea of what it entails and what it is about.
Great.
Because more awareness is what we need for this program. I love that.
I can't wait to share this video.
Thank you. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a comment below, like, subscribe. See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.